All right, I'm live.
Yes, you are.
Just let me know when to talk about things.
And just on that.
Okay. I mean, let's just. What do you want us to talk about?
Well, have you guys done introductions yet?
Oh yeah, we could do introductions. Okay, well I'm on MWOs too. I'm Chicken Man 919, and we have Bowser here. That's supposed to be on MWO Leagues 1, but some mishaps happen.
There's
So
a slight delay. It will be live soon.
Very soon.
and yeah, we're also here with Luscious.
Howdy.
He's here with us to talk about maps, mechs, and stuff like that. We're for about, I don't know, 15 minutes till the match starts. So
Ooh. Want to start off with Frozen? Okay.
yeah, we could start with Frozen. I mean, what can I say? This map is superior with a long range. So what we've been seeing is a lot of control strats, or not too many brawl strats or anything like that. Just majority of long range trade. Very simple stuff.
Has there been any tactic you've seen used on Frozen from the top 12 teams where you're like, you know what, that seems like it's actually a pretty good strategy outside of long range trade?
I mean, I really haven't really seen too many like interesting things. It's just all I've been seeing is mostly like trade and stuff the last few games.
That's fair.
People bringing the same mechs like Star Rhino, XC, Longbow, or either Stalker.
Mm-hmm.
The usual good traders right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, if one of the teams brought Brawl, how do you think that would square up against the long range trade on Frozen City?
well, it's depending on how you push those traders.
Mm-hmm.
Example from, like, let's say Team 2, right? If you are doing a brawl push on Team 2, you would spawn in the valley. A lot of teams done this in the past where they just push right through the 6th line into the, either going upper city or going right through to D5 to a brawl rush. If you don't see that fast enough and you're not prepared for it, you can get caught off guard from that. But a lot of teams will have scouts to see that early on if they do push. So it's either a lot of the time is like hit or miss if the team is expecting it or not.
But a lot of times what we've seen from Team 2 is you've seen sort of like a city push through, kind of with these arrows pushing across. I think we saw it in Vile versus 1FR, just as an example, where Vile ended up moving a bunch of their mechs through Team 2 side, but it wasn't so much as a push, so much as it was kind of taking the map from them because they were getting out traded and like basically just like wrecked on every front almost, and maybe something like that. So the problem with that is it's just very easy to scout, as Chicken Man said. So you could have a mech here, you could have here. It's just anybody jumping up and looking across can see it, and it's impossible to hide this sort of movement. So as long as you're keeping up your scouting, and I think that's the theme for this year's championship, is the teams that have done the best scouting are usually coming out ahead. The teams that aren't scouting as well are falling behind.
I do agree on that.
And I think that plays part to these maps. I think these maps there's not a lot of hard cover on these maps, actually, funnily enough. There's a lot of soft cover, there's a lot of buildings, there's a lot of hills, there's not a lot of hard cover. So people you can just see people running anywhere. Like, for example, let's make a good example. Like, let's say Team 2 wants to do something like that and hook all the way through Gamma. Well, guess what? That's a great play until you have your guy here looking all the way across, able to see that. So it's the same story or a similar story with Bear Claw, similar story with Terra, and it's a very similar story with HPG, actually. Really about the only map where you can potentially get away with sneaky fast plays is Viridian, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
4 of the 5 maps are like fucking huge. So
right. HBG, you have like the entire low ground, the entire wall, easily telegraphed.
Yeah.
With the basement is the only middle focal point where you can make like unscouted plays.
Mhm.
Frozen, as we said, basically impossible, actually. There are some random nooks and crannies. For example, if you're Team 2, you go all the way out wide, cut an epsilon, and just like set an epsilon theoretically for like an ambush. But then, of course, you're predicating the fact that Team 1 is going to have to take Epsilon in the first place, right?
Yep.
So it's very situational, and it's not something you could rely on, I think, on a lot of these maps.
Yeah, I do agree.
Okay. So I have a question for you guys. I'm not going to get into what I said I was going to before we started this, but just because we're running a little bit low on time now. But what teams do you guys think will make it to top 3?
I think it's hard to say right now, but I mean, the first 2 teams that come to mind is DSC and Vile, right? They're like one of the the best 2 out of the 12 teams right now, and I think it falls down on the lower brackets right now. Like KDCM could definitely come back. FJRD can do some sneaky stuff and could actually get into top 4 slots. 10th LG, they can actually work themselves back up to the loser brackets and get back up there too. So it's really hard to say right now. We would have to wait till later to see what how like the teams are handling each other. But
Fair. All right, Bowser, I have a question for you in particular. Of the teams who have played so far in the top 12, which team is standing out the most to you right now and why?
Which team, like I've played in Vile? I mean, to tell you the honest truth, none, because we haven't fought DSC right now in the tournament. We only fought DSC and CompQ. So, and we haven't fought 10th Lyrian in CompQ, or sorry, in like the finals as well. Like we've only fought them in CompQ. So, like, to be honest, none. Speaking from Vile standpoint.
What about you personally?
I mean, me personally, it's probably, I mean, it's going to have to be DSC, right? So, like, that's just the obvious answer, I think. And that's just out of respect for the opposition they provide. I mean, that's about it. So.
All right.
I mean, coming from Vile's perspective, we've dominated CompQ, we've dominated everything this year. So it's like it's hard to be fearful of, or even really like anticipating like a lot of opponents we can fight. So other than DSC, other than 10th Lyrian, I don't think most teams, and we proved that pretty well fighting 1FR. I believe it was last week. They didn't even stand a chance. And no offense to them, they're great players, experienced team, but it's not going to compare. So that's just the simple truth of it.
I mean, it really does come down to like strats and decks, all that stuff. If you're not bringing the right things, then you can't really perform as good as you really want to. And I feel like some teams are having a hard time doing that, but they're all good players. It's just it's hard. Like these maps are kind of newish. Well, for me, they're newish comp maps, so it took me a while to understand them. So I mean, it could just be teams having a rough time, figuring out how to play these maps.
I think from my observation casting this year, and of course playing a number of teams in CompQ, I think that like we mentioned earlier, the biggest issue teams have had is scouting. I think number one by far, teams are just not scouting sufficiently enough. And it goes back to the maps. I actually think like the maps are just so predicated on getting good scouting. There's a lot of things you can do on the maps. So from that sense, it's very versatile. Especially on something like HBG or maybe Viridian, even Terra to an extent. But you have to see what's going on, right? And it's like, okay, well, you miss a guy running to the corner, then that can completely ruin your entire plan. Stuff like that. For example, we saw that with DSC with the hunchback in the corner of the map denying Gamma on Terra against I believe it was 10th Lyrian. They didn't have an answer. They didn't have a solution for that hunchback. They had no idea he was even there until they tried to run under the cap, and then that's it, right? And in fairness, it's very difficult to see that mech there in that corner, but that's just an example of you just got to be cognizant. I don't know. I don't really have a better way to put it. You have to be super aware and super cognizant, and like your lights need to just be looking just all the time. It's really crazy, and it's like these teams are just not doing that. These teams are just banking on, for example, we saw KDCM against FTRD Focus, I believe, right? I believe it was Focus last week.
Visigoths.
Visigoths. It was Visigoths last week. And they didn't really have a plan running into it. They didn't really have any, I shouldn't say they didn't have a plan. They didn't have any scouting. It was just painfully obvious they had no scouting for anything. They had only a rough idea what was going on through the match, and it just showed with all their pushes. And that's really the culmination of not having scouting on some of these maps, especially like on that Bear Claw push on that drop 3. Looking back on it, it was just like, it's so easily telegraphed by Visigoths because they had scouting, and like KDCM seemingly did not.
That is fair. You know, you brought up DSE's Terra Therma, which, like, honestly, that your guys' positioning was wild. Top tier.
I mean,
love it.
Like I said, like, I mean, once you figure out how to play a map, or you find these spots, you will understand how to play the map easier. So it looked kind of crazy from the top POV, but like once you like look on the map and how these mechs are looking at these points and stuff, it makes sense. A lot of people were complaining about Terra Therma being like mostly like brawl maps, right? Or like a brawl map, right? But you can definitely do a lot of other things on that map. You just have to explore and and figure out how to do strats and stuff. That's really it.
If you guys are getting into map band now, let me know and
that's funny. We didn't even invite him yet. I've been actually talking without looking. It is
See, time flies. Time flies. You guys should probably
get
those invites out.
Yeah. Let me do that. Who am I inviting? God dang it.
Oh man. Well, I'm sorry to pull your guys' attention away from the match.
Yeah, I've been talking too long.
Oh boy.
Let's see.
But yeah, Bowser, have there been any strats that you've seen from teams so far that blew your mind, like Terra Therma did, DSC's Terra Therma did mine?
None in the slightest. I would say everything I've seen is expected so far, and I'm surprised that more teams are not taking the DSC approach and just abusing really random corners and angles of the map. Terra Therma, especially, you haven't seen a single team do it this entire tournament, and even in CompQ, for teams playing CompQ, and it's utterly shocking to me that teams aren't abusing those spots more. It's very easy to science that stuff out. It takes like 10 minutes in training room, to be quite honest. And obviously, I mean, it paid dividends for DSC compared to Revenant, right? Like the Revenant just had no counter. They had no response.
Oh my god, guy. Oh, sorry. This guy's name is in one word, and he has it in 2 words on
Discord.
On Discord, so it messed me up. Okay, I don't even. I think what? Gotta look at team sides. Yeah, this is correct. With the map Bands. Alrighty. Now I can switch the screen. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. We definitely made this game a little bit later than it should have been. Just talking way too long. So it looks like 10th Larian Guards picked Bear Claw 1, which is expected.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of you guys' hair. Thank you so much for having me around.
Yeah, thank you, Luscious, for being here and asking some questions.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Take it easy. Best of luck.
So going into the match here, we do see that 10th Lyran has picked Bear Claw. We see Ford Fiokus has picked Viridian as their maps, their first two maps. If I'm Lyrian, I feel like I'm picking Terra. What do you think?
I honestly think I was gonna say APG, but they picked Frozen.
Okay, so we've completely wrong guesses. They have picked Frozen City.
That's very unexpected. I thought they would pick HPG. I felt they could be strong on that map. I feel like FJRG is gonna pick Terra.
I agree on that one.
Yep, and they did.
So, yep, there it is. So we'll be starting on Bear Claw. Now they're picking sides. Well, Lyran picks Bear Claw. So Fjord. I mean, this is going to be interesting, right? Because as we know about Bear Claw, the south side of Bear Claw has the advantage when fighting and contesting for Theta. But of course, north side theoretically is better trading positions, better scouting positions. So we do see Fjord does take team 1. Interesting on Bear Claw. I mean, that could be, I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again, that definitely could be a sign of a push if a team is voluntarily giving up, quote unquote, the better side of the map for control.
Mm-hmm. And then Revenant picked team 2 on Verdian Bog. Yeah. FJRG focused picked team 2 on Frozen City 1. I feel like they're gonna push on that side.
I agree. That's something we haven't really seen this tournament, but is actually very strong, is the reverse counter push from team 1. I think normally we've seen a lot of team 2 into team 1 pushes on Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really seen it much the other way around.
So it looks like Revenant picked the last two sides, team 2 on Terra, which seems like they might either do a control strat on that side, and then team 1 on HPG. So team 1 is, I think, a bit stronger than team 2 on HPG. But I don't know about you, Bowser. I don't know how you feel.
I would agree with that assessment. Yes, I would agree with that assessment. I think team 1 is definitely a little bit stronger than team 2 on HPG. Not really any super crazy reasoning to that. I think this ramp area for team 1 is a bit stronger for sure. I think the wall crossings are more friendly for team 1 as opposed to team 2. For example, you kind of have this building structure over here that team 1 theoretically can more easily use than team 2, especially if they're getting pushed off the wall over here. It's a pretty symmetrical map, all things considered, but it's definitely a little bit more advantaged in team 1's favor.
All right, and then team 1 at 5 minutes. All right.
So Fjord's gonna I think you gotta switch the map to.
It's Bear Call first, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's bear call. It's bear call first,
Okay.
and then FJG's on team 1.
Okay. So looking at Bear Claw a little bit, it's honestly a very one-dimensional map, as we discussed on a little bit of a pre-talk here. It's super predicated on your scouting, if your scouting is efficient or not, because almost the entirety of this area, the entirety of literally everything on Bear Claw is all scoutable if you if you see it, right? Like literally, if you see it, you can scout it. It's kind of like redundant to say, but there's not a lot of places you can sneak by. Like even somewhere like here where we saw KDCM try to push last week, it doesn't work if you have like a single guy up here just like scouting the whole lane down. And that just goes double for literally any single one of the lanes of the map. Epsilon, Kappa, there's just nothing that cannot be scouted if you have like people who know where to look, basically. And so coming into team 1 on Fjord here, you have obviously the D7 high spot, super powerful. The cover's a little bit wrong on the mech there, doesn't matter. So you have that spot, which basically can see a lot of the map, right? You can see a lot of the map from that spot. But the problem is team 1 is not only like 200 or 300 meters behind Theta, but they also lose the big rock up here, which you can put a mech on and basically deny the entire cap forever if you have lasers with that mech down there. So team 2 is just, because of those reasons, team 2 is just objectively straight up better to hold data with, which means if Fjord is sitting team 1 and they're handing over they're handing over that side of the map to 10th Lyran, Revenants, I guess probably, yeah, Revenant. We'll just call them Revenants. Just handing that side of the map over to Revenants. I think Revenants kind of knows what to expect. I would like to think Revenant kind of knows what to expect coming into this, which is why I'm surprised that Visigoths would give that side of the map up.
You said having a mech in G6 is a great spot for denying Theta. I agree on that. It's just sometimes if you don't, well, you will see, like if you have really good scouting and you see something pushing 5 line, having a slow trader in G6 could be bad. If it's trying to rotate to, let's say it's probably going to F7, it might get there too late and get caught. So
Yep.
if you have a trader in G6, make sure to have a probably like a heavy mech on there instead of a assault, or maybe put an XC there instead of something slow. So be careful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A favored is like maybe like a blackjack or even like a crusader that your large is, or something 80-90 Ks an hour ish, that you just can't, because obviously if it's an assault, right, as you said, it's going to be too slow to actually get the deny, so it has to be fast enough to get up there with a reasonable amount of speed to get that deny.
No, we're just waiting for team 2 to lock in. Team 1 already locked.
Unfortunately, lances don't really tell much of a story on this map. They're all pretty close together.
Yeah, the lances really don't tell a story for the match, so we have to wait until we get into in game. Looks like team 2 is green, waiting for them to say locked. All right, team 2 is locked.
All right, let us launch.
Alrighty.
So what do you think we're going to see coming out of this match, Chicken Man, coming into this? I think, like, as we discussed, I think it's fairly telegraphed that Fjord is going to be extremely aggressive of some variety. But what do you think Revenants is going to do here?
I feel like they're gonna bring the same stuff last week. Maybe have a tweak on some mechs, maybe. But I feel like they might like change this. Let's say like they had the Storm Rhino last week. They could have an AC-10 Storm Rhino because they might be seeing a push from FJRT or FJRC focus. Yeah. They might change a few mechs just to deal with brawl if they do brawl. And if they need to push up, if they're doing like a cap shot, then they'll have more DPS to actually win fights. So
Makes
hopefully,
sense. I completely agree.
Yeah, hopefully we can see something like that. I will go to team 2 side. You want to go team 1?
Absolutely. So looking at Fjord, they're going to have a Saber, they're going to have a Spider 5K, they're going to have a Viper F, Stone Rhino Colossus, Black Runner, Billionaires, Charger 1A1, Executioner M, Ice Ferret J. Very rush heavy. What do you see over there on Revenant?
Okay, I see an Atlas RS, XLPLs, Marauder 2C with 4 LPOs and 5 ER meds, a Stone Runner 1 with 4 AC-10, 2 Plasma, a Blackjack 1X, probably Laser Vomit, yes, Javelin 11F, Heavy Machine Gun Medium X Pulse, Viper, SPL, Micro Pulse Laser, a Osiris 1P with heavy machine guns, brawl stuff, and then an ice fridge for, I guess, capping. As lasers. So I did call. Yeah, go ahead, Bowser.
Sorry to interrupt you. That X Pulse Atlas is very interesting. That's a very interesting pick, and I think that means that Revenants have come prepared to receive this rush from Visigoths. We do see Bacon in that Blackjack right behind his Javelin contesting the cap. Of course, as we said, the Javelin just gets there way before the Viper ever could. So they have Theta. The Viper's going to try and deny it. That's not going to matter, though.
Viper's taking some.
Blackjack gets a really good burn on that Blackjack there. So very interesting. We see Fjord kind of has a Saber and an Ice Ferret J. I don't know if they're trying to run onto Epsilon to take it or what the deal is with that. They do have the Spider kind of scouting, but it looks like we see the FGRD bigs all sitting by Theta. Surely 5JDX knows this. It looks like they do. They pulled quite a bit of range at this point with the Atlas, the Marauder, even the Stone Rhino. So they're prepared for this inevitable rush from FGRD here. Interestingly, I like where these lights were. I like where they were. They kind of pulled off now, but they could have actually done like a pincer if they ran through Epsilon low ground and like just came up behind to shank the Revenant bigs, but they didn't do that. It seems like they're just consolidating with the rest of the FGRD bigs. They have pushed through Theta at this point. They're at the big middle rock. They're kind of trapped, I think. Kind of just stuck.
Yeah, FGRD, I think they're waiting for their light pack right now, so then they can get ready to push, but they are taking some free damage from the Osiris, but I mean, the Osiris isn't really doing too much there.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a mistake. But of course, the jig is up, so
I think the Osiris is just trying to keep getting info for them in case, see what they're doing and stuff. I think FJG is actually going to try to cap him out. It looks like they're going to go get Kappa here. And they're going to...
That is smart. That is super smart because you've kind of pushed Revenant into the bottom right corner of their map, including a lot of their lights, ready to receive a push that, as you said, seems like it's not going to happen. So Revenant needs to, I guess, be aware of that and counter push. I don't know if they want to counter push into Fjord's deck, though.
I think what 10th Valerian Guards should do is send some mediums up to bait their assaults out, because it looks like the assaults are trying to like get ready to ambush something on Theta or something to push around the corner.
Absolutely. We do see Revenant Lights getting aggressive, trying to I guess they're just trying to push it. They have no idea the assaults are all around the corner, but Cougar does scout them all around that corner. Cougar's not going to take very much damage for it, though. Unfortunate a little bit. Bangalore getting burned just a bit. Nothing too bad. Of course, Revenant is counter pushing. They're doing exactly what they need to do with the right timing. They are counter pushing. We see Monkey also in the Atlas, Sleepy Human in the Marauder. They're going to take point with Carbon finding the Rhino just basically almost Giga Chad walking down the middle with the Atlas and the Marauder coming on the right. We just see Javelin running in. One of the Executioners appears to not be moving for Fjord. That is super unfortunate. However, JP Django does get legged immediately from the cost, and he does go down. Of course, Butterpro and the Incubus going down at the same time. It's really unfortunate that Executioner's not moving, and Revenance is aware of that. They're not shooting that Executioner at all, Bumblebee and that Executioner. He must have had a disconnect at some point.
Yeah, I did not see that.
Going to try and counter push, but it's kind of just... That's kind of going to be all she wrote, almost. Like, the Viper's going down a little bit here. Kind of into 5 mechs. We do see the Ice Ferret making a last stand. Can he get Monkey Yatso? He does get Monkey Yatso. Of course, Fjord still sitting on 4 cap. So, if Alpha Strike and the Ferret can just pull away. We do see Bumblebee and the Executioner does come back, of course. He does get legged, but they do kill Sleepy Human. Maybe they can kill Coker here. No, Coker makes it behind cover. But the Spider is going to chase. I think that's a little bit dangerous, chasing the Blue Devil spawn and Cougar there. Bacon Lord is not long for this world. There goes Bacon Lord. Really good kill by Tart in the Charger. Bumblebee does go down the Executioner. Tart is going to be not long for this world. Carbon Fire is very fresh in that Stone Rhino. Unfortunately, there goes Tart. Yamu in that Spider is going to try and... I don't know what he's going to try and do here, actually. He's trapped.
Yeah, he is definitely
trapped. He can
trapped.
just delay at this point. There goes the leg on Yamu. Yamu does go down. And that is it for... that is it for Visigoths.
No, that's the... No, it's Focus. But yeah,
Focus. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I you know, kind of happy that I predicted that, you know, Revenant would bring more DPS mechs into you know, FJRD. They were ready for it, but I think they also knew that they were going to try to do a cap game, so having more DPS to push up to, you know, clear them out is what they had to do. I also felt like Focus could have bought more time by, like, you know, not sitting on Theta, or maybe have more mechs ready to receive against Revenant, but they just got pincered there from both sides. It allowed himself to get hit.
I think putting all of their bigs, just sitting them behind that pillar, was a bit of a mistake. I also think, like, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, they're trying to play a cap game, but yet at the slightest sign of resistance, all their lights just stopped capping and came back and pushed. I almost have to think if they had just kept going the cap game, that might have played out better for them. But unfortunately, as predicted, I mean, Fjord, it was a decent attempt at a push. Tart getting really good damage, 567 with 4 kills in that Charger 1-1. That mech does output a surprising amount of DPS, considering it was the last one alive. But it's way too predictable from Revenant, and I mean, that's just kind of exactly what happened. Like, they pull back at the right timing, then they counter push with the exact right timing because their scouting was really good, while Focus's mechs are basically just scattering around trying to get caps. And it seemed like the counter push from Revenant caught FGRD off guard, actually, with all those mechs there in the middle. And of course, unfortunately, the Executioner not really moving. I guess he was disconnected or something. Right as they got pushed was really unfortunate. That was just unfortunate time. They probably would have killed at least an extra 1 or 2 of Revenant's mechs if that Executioner had been active when the counter push happened.
I was surprised that he came back near the end, though. He did get I think, like, a few legs when he came back, but it wasn't enough. I think the next map is Viridian, and I think they're on the same side. So we don't have to switch sides. I'll say team 1, 5 minutes. Do you want to talk about anything on Viridian, or I guess we should, right? I think what Revenant is going to do on Team 2 side is actually maybe do a control strat where, you know, it forces FJ to push them, and they'll have very good receive points if they, you know, have to receive. And I think FJRD is trying to, I think, full on brawl rush them from Team 1 side. I don't know what you think, Bowser.
Yeah, I would concur with your assessment 100%. So, kind of just managing some of the overlays in the scenes right now. Where are you doing the lobby stuff? Let's see.
Viridian is very small on the whatever it's called, the when you bring out the map room. It is very small, so it might be really hard to actually put anything down on there and have people to see. Waiting on FTRG's lances and where they put people at. It looks like they're spreading people out from Alpha Bravo.
Lances are a little bit more important on Viridian as it is a smaller map. And for example, if you want to fight Theta, then spawning all your people in Bravo or Alpha, right? If you're team 1, or Bravo Charlie if you're team 2, well, that's not going to be very productive, right? So a little bit more focus can be paid attention to lances here, especially as Focus does have to lock first. They are locked. So going on to Revenant's pick here, or I guess Revenant's side.
Man, I just had to head blank. I think. Oh yeah, they're locked. So, god dang, into 5 minutes.
I think we're going to see pretty consistent pushing from Focus. So they clearly gave up the better side of Bear Claw, quote unquote, the better side to do a push strat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Viridian is a map, as we discussed earlier, would be very friendly for what they're trying to do. So kind of going into it here, if we're looking at team 1, I like to expect a couple things from this. So I like to expect that maybe they just ignore Theta completely. And I'd like to expect something like that. I'd like to expect a little something like that. You could see 1, 2, you maybe see a couple lights going through Theta. I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's a little bit hard to predict what they're kind of gonna run and what they're gonna kind of do here, because like we saw in the last match, okay, well they took a push strat, right, and they're just gonna try and go straight through, okay, but then they stopped at the middle rock and then they just tried to play caps. Very interesting, very fun strategy to watch actually, until Revenant counter push basically. But
I feel like maybe FTRD might actually bait Revenant out by going for these caps and having them, you know, bring more mechs over towards like a certain cap point. And once they've done that, they could maybe do like a counter push or actually brawl them if they have very fast mechs. If I don't know if FTRD is going to do that, or they might just full send. Hopefully they can maybe set up a trap or somewhere.
I'd like to see that, but I would like to think Revenant knows the gig. Like I think they understand the gig after that first match. Like the gig is up for Focus. So I would like to think Revenant is just going to play very conservatively with high DPS receive mechs. Again, you have that X-Pulse Atlas, which is actually wouldn't be bad to see on this map again. You also have that, again, that AC-10 Stone Rhino. Those two would be just absolutely monstrous at receiving any sort of push from Focus, especially because most of the push lanes are very open. About the only one that could really catch your assaults off guard, let's say if you're a Revenant and you're kind of sitting back here a little bit, maybe some sort of hook like that through Theta. It could be easy to not have that scouted if you're Revenant, and if you send 2, 3, 4 lights through that, if you're Focus, I mean, that could very easily catch whatever is back there off guard, maybe combined with Biggs sort of pushing straight through, kind of like that.
Yeah, I can maybe see something like that. Team 2 is locked and they're ready to roll. So
Absolutely.
I think we're done talking and we're gonna get here started.
Some of the mechs on the ground. So I will start with FGRD because that's where my camera was. So we're going to see Butter Pro and a Shadowcat P. We're going to see the Stone Rhino 1. We're going to see the Spider 5K, Executioner A, Mad Cat 1, Flea 17, Black Winter Bow and Arrows, and then the Ice Ferret J. What do you have over there in Revenants?
Just loaded in. I'm running it right now. Okay, I see a Viper F, probably SPO, machine gun or full laser, Flea 19 max shots, Jenner 2C2, heavy beam lasers, Crusader 6T, probably yeah. Oh, large poles, 6-year meds and 6 smalls, Star under 1 with AC10s. Oh, Death Strike with 2 hack 30s, 2 LPOs, and 4-year meds. That's gonna be very hot. And then 4 large laser 7V with 5-year meds and 2 rocket launcher 10s, and a Shadowcat with plasma and AP Gauss.
So we do see the Black Lantern, Ice Ferret, and the Flea are going to get Theta very quickly for focus here. That is pretty strong. They didn't take much damage in the process. I think the Flea should bail now. The Flea is going to bail now. They took very little damage. They did get that Theta cap. They did get a very early 3 cap. So that actually might be very tricky for Revenants, who look like they set up a little bit more of a receive style deck here. Very interesting choices, though, from that Death Strike and that Lombo 7V, notably not an overcharge.
The 7V does have all its energies in the torsos and has a quirk for I think it's -10. So they probably want something to have more sustain and better hard points, which, you know, can maybe outweigh the speed. But I think the speed is more important in these type of matches. It looks like Revenant is pushing up to get better positions in the middle to get more, you know, ground.
We do see they're not going to let Focus sit on those caps for very long. We do see Luminos, Monkey Yatsu, and Carbon Fire in those 3 assaults for Revenants. They're pushing straight up to the middle, as you said, very quick. They're not delaying anything at all. Fjordlands might not be expecting this aggression from Revenants, actually. I don't think they have very minimal scouting, as far as I can tell, on this sort of Revenant movement.
Bowser,
looks like they're playing very far back.
Bacon actually has been scouting, but he's been taking a lot of damage for it, and he's been
no. I mean Focus.
Team Focus. Oh, sorry.
I don't think they're scouting very much at all. The Executioner does see, of course, some of the assaults moved up. He is aware, but are they aware that Carbon Fire and Luminos are just straight up pushed up in the middle of the map? I don't know.
Yeah, the scouting.
Big surprise for Thorgrim Malthus here.
Hopefully that Spider 5K can see that side where their assaults are moving towards in the middle. It looks like, yeah, it looks like the Spider actually sees them, so they know they have a few mechs on that right side. And the Mac Cat Mark 1.
Tart taking pretty heavy damage. He's pushed up pretty close in that Gaussier Large Mac Cat 1 to Revenant's mid-range. Luminos and Carbon Fire putting very good damage on Tart, who's forced behind that little mountain on the high ground spot he's in right now. Interesting. We see a lot of Focus mechs converging on this Epsilon cap. They're going to have a lot of trouble because Monkey Yatsu's in the high ground and they have nobody looking at Monkey Yatsu to stop this aggression from him, except for Oogway T and the Stone Rhino 1. Will be enough, though. It looks like Revenants is overrunning it completely. And they have the Crusader there, too. Viper 3 is going to take a ton of damage in that Black Lantern. He actually just caught a little bit. His legs open. They didn't quite get it. Just about nearly lagged. Got caught up against the wall there. That is going to be Epsilon cap for Revenants, almost uncontested, with a lot of damage being put into Viper 3's leg there.
Very surprised that Black Lantern survived that 4-man gank there.
I am as well. That's actually really big for Focus that he did survive.
Yeah, both legs are basically orange-yellow, so they almost had him. So it looks like they're going to try to push this Storano 1, maybe? No, they're not doing that. I think the Storano 1 should actually maybe drop down and try to get a different position because he is going to get pushed in soon. And he's basically trapped there anyway.
So basically just a big skirmish kind of happening right now. We see Ford kind of running back and forth. They're not really sure what to do from this very heavy Revenant aggression on Epsi. We see Butter Pro is a little bit ahead, or Butter Poro, sorry, is a little bit ahead of his team. He's going to get focused down really quickly, though. His leg is already open. He's fighting basically 3 Revenant mechs at once, the Crusader, the Jenner, and the Viper. He is legged, I believe. Yes, he is legged. Bacon Lord and JP Janko getting a good crossfire on Thorgrim Malthus here, making the push. Tart does go down in that Mad Cannon. Meanwhile, absolutely just completely out-traded. Look at where he died. Oh my goodness. Kind of just in the back. That's actually wild. And we do see Uguay T is about to go down next. This is very awkward for Focus. I think their lights just need to pull out and start running to caps. They need to do the same thing they should have done in the first match on Bear Claw. They need to just be pulling those lights out and just stop committing them to this fight and getting themselves legged and just try and cap at this point. That's all you have left. That's the closest you're going to get it. You see Butter Porter and Alpha Strike go down at the same time. Dr. Xenocide is going to run in, try and get the Crusader. Will be able to get it. He does get it. Self-destruction by Canadian DJ. He does go down. At this point, it's a leg Black Lantern, very hurt XE. Speaking of leg Black Lantern, there he goes. It's just the Spider and the Flea mostly, and there goes the XE. So it's just the Spider and the Flea right now for Focus. These guys need to run away if they can and just do something with the caps. They're not going to make it very far, though. The Spider does get up, and Xenocide goes down, and that is going to be it.
Yeah, like you said, the lights on FJD Focus should have been actually going for caps, and they just decided to brawl there. It was very tough seeing that, but it happens. And it looks like Monk with the Death Strike actually farmed the most on the Revenant with 929 damage. That's very, very good.
I mean, Thorgrim Malthus, Executioner A, 266, Tart in the Mad Cat, 1, 256, and Uguay, 329. You just don't really want to see those numbers from your assaults, unfortunately. That seems like where the bigger problem was. Of course, the lights took a lot of damage, but it was the bigs that got so heavily out-traded. They just did not have an answer for Revenant just taking the middle with their mid-range. They brought a lot of like long range, but as soon as the range gap closes, which is exactly what Revenant did, it's just going to be game over, and that's exactly what we saw.
Alrighty, I will get the next map ready, and it looks like we'll have to switch the teams too. It is Frozen City next, I believe. No? Doesn't it say FJD picked Team 2 on Frozen City?
Yes, it does say that to me. Focus is Team 2 on Frozen, and it just said Lyran Revenants is Team 1. Okay, there's just a slight miscommunication. Yeah, so Revenant is supposed to be Team 1 on Frozen, and Focus is supposed to be Team 2 on Frozen. So sides are correct.
Yeah. It looks like sides are correct. Okay. Team 1, 5 minutes. Do you expect Revenant to receive mechs on Frozen City, or do you think they will have enough DPS to deal with FJRD with blue lasers?
So I think FGD brought a very interesting mix-up onto that last drop. It's hard to predict. I mean, it's very hard to predict, I think, at this stage, what we're going to see coming out of FGRD. Especially on a map like Frozen, I would have predicted the map that they would have pushed, as we said in the pregame analysis, was Viridian, and they didn't. So I think it's gonna be very difficult to predict. If they try pushing on Frozen, it could be absolutely disastrous, particularly as Revenant has Team 1 side generally considered the better side to receive a push on. So it's gonna be very troubling for Focus, I think, on this map.
Yeah, it was kind of funny seeing Focus doing a control strat on Verde when feel like they should have pushed. Now I don't know what they're gonna do on this side or on Frozen at all. I think FJG could actually do like a mid or a Theta lock where they just have a bunch of mechs just looking at Theta, so Redmond cannot get a third cap. So I think FJG is either just gonna get a 3 cap on the west side and just sit there and protect Theta.
I'd really like to see, as Focus is about to get knocked down, or sorry, this is loser bracket. So this is elimination match for Focus actually right now. I would really like to see them pull something absolutely crazy. We talked about potentially not counter strikes, but like ganks, like weird ganks and ambushes. I want to see that, the absolute best of that, come out right now for Focus as they're breathing their last gas in this tournament.
Yeah, I feel like Focus can do some weird flanks, like around, like you said, people can go around the 9 line on Frozen, around the I guess the Rock and D8. They can definitely send a few mechs behind there, have their whole team on the other side of the map, and have them just completely backstab some of Revenant mechs if they have them on Gamma side or something like that. But I'm not even sure if they're gonna do that.
So really, I think we could look at a couple strong ambush plays here. So looking from Team 2 side, from Fjord's side, we could definitely see some play around Sigma, something like that, where you get we get Revenant mechs to kind of overextend across the saddle, and maybe you even jump them. You could potentially have people run through the tunnel too, kind of a little bit something like that. So
I could see that.
On the other side too, we talked about Epsilon earlier. Maybe if you're Fjord, maybe a little something like that. You just have some sort of ambush there. Of course, it's super, super, super tricky because that type of ambush, I should say, is completely foiled by Revenant just sending a mech back there. It's just super easy to do. So it's just very difficult. Again, it's a very scouting predicated map, and I suspect that we're going to see Focus pull out all the stops as they're on their potential final match in this tournament here. And really, it's Revenant's game to lose, I would say. So Revenant needs to just keep sharp and just keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they really, I would say that Bear Claw match was almost textbook, that Bear Claw receive. And then I would say the Viridian kind of push into middle was also very textbook. They swung their lights all together very aggressively through Epsilon with the support of the Crusader. Their Bigs, their mid-range Bigs, very notable there, took middle and pushed Fjord's long-range Bigs off the map. So it's just this map in general is just super predicated on scouting, and we're going to see the best or worst of that from both these teams coming in right now as both teams lock up here.
I'm gonna get ready to switch scenes, and then I'm ready to start it.
Absolutely.
Starting. It looks like Focus is having both their lances on Alpha and Bravo. So that's really saying that they are taking the west side of the map.
Yes.
I don't expect any, maybe one light mech from Bravo lens maybe to scout on the maybe 7 line if they are thinking about that, but I feel like they're just going to full send on the west side, or maybe have a 3 cap there.
So we do see the mechs coming in now. Finally, I'll start with Revenant here. That's where my camera started. So we'll start with Executioner M. We'll start with the Viper F, Shadowcat, Mishapeshu, the Bloodass Rancor, Stone Rhino 1, the Flea 19, the Locust 1B, and the Crusader 6T. We have over there for focus.
I'm seeing an XEM, a linebacker H, Gargoyle D, Charger and 7, Black Lantern, Ice Fridge, Flea 17, and a Viper. I did not expect this. I think they're gonna do a Valley push here with their bigs.
Fantastic to see. We haven't really seen that much this tournament. Kind of looking at Focus's builds, they're basically all hard brawl. But if we look at Revenant's builds, actually, we have some long range. Very interesting build up from Carbon Fire, double hag 40s and 6 medium pulse. That sounds like it'd be really hot, potentially a good push receive, but also very, very, very hot. We just see Crusader, or yeah, Canadian DJ and the ERPVC Crusader, of course, the Bloodless Rancor, always the 6 ER larges, the Executioner, also full ER larges. And then the ER large Locust. So I don't know that Revenant actually expects this full send. I don't think, looking at the deck, they expected them to do this. But of course, the battle's starting really quickly here. Bacon Lord is aware that lights are pushing very hard. Of course, Revenant needs to be careful because we see the, Revenant needs to be careful because we see the 4-lane bigs just basically pushing all the way through the open here. Uncontested almost. Well, I should say uncontested, actually. Uguay is taking a fair bit of damage, down to 84%. But this is a very dangerous hill to hold for Revenants. They kind of don't want to go right into the lights. They kind of don't want to go left into the bigs. And it's a 4-man pincer. It's 4 bigs on the right, 4 lights on the left for Fjordland. I actually really like this split from Fjordland. I'm a big fan of it. We do see linebacker just tanking. Oh my goodness, that's kind of what they do, though, right? The linebacker is just sponge.
They've gotten buffer sitting, so yeah.
And so at the same time, really well timed, we do see the Fjordlands lights pushing Cougar. They might get a pick on Cougar. Cougar does get legged. Will they get him? They do get Cougar. Oh my goodness, super fast. They're going to jump on these Revenant mechs who are basically just in a giant crossfire at this point in time. Sponge and the linebacker goes down. Took a very long time to go down. The Fjordland lights are just in there. Alpha Strike and the Viper does go down next, though. Of course, that Crusader. They need to try and get that Crusader kill very quickly. Carbon Fire does go down. Tart and the Charger very next up. It's pretty neck and neck. However, Fjordlands is down on percentage right now. And of course, they are down a mech. Not much is happening at this point. They're still not getting a lot of damage in the Crusader. That Crusader is just going to absolutely mop up all of Fjordland's lights if they don't get a kill on it quickly. We just see Yamu go down, Uguay T going down, and Thorgrim, Malthus, and the Gargoyle is going to be shortly after. Don't see any particularly hurt mechs on Revenants at this point in time. Canadian's not even legged. He is legged. I'm sorry. Canadian is actually legged. Dr. Xenocide, will he be able to get bacon? Dr. Xenocide does get bacon. Good kill from Dr. Xenocide. Can he get Canadian DJ's other leg? No. That is it for Dr. Xenocide.
Kind of disappointing there from Focus, though. I felt like they should have pushed in more straight instead of going up top of the, upper city.
Agreed. I think they should have just ran it down a little bit faster. We do see Monkey Yatsu and the Bloodass Rancor 760 from those ear larges and micros receiving that push.
Wow.
Good damage from Carbon Fire, of course, and Snow Rhino 1. It looked like it was built to receive that push going in there. Just good damage spread, really, from pretty much all of Revenant, I would say. Even not that bad from Focus. Sponger and the linebacker, he was literally the tank for his team. Still did 110 damage. So it was a good attempt. That was the best attempt I've seen yet, I think.
Yeah.
For a frozen push almost. It's largely this whole tournament, actually. That was a strong push. It was a quick match. The score didn't look great, but their initial strategy was good. The execution may have been flawed, but the initial strategy was very strong there from Focus.
I liked it a lot. I wish it was more clean though.
And that will be Revenant moving on in the losers bracket 3-0 against Focus, with Focus being eliminated from the tournament. Congratulations to Revenant. And of course, Focus, played a pretty good series against a tough opponent. Well played to both teams in this match here.
Yep, well played. What is next? When is the next game?
Should be very shortly. Let me check. 15 20 minutes, I think.
15, 20 minutes. I think I'm not casting that game. It will be Revan. So
Sounds good.
I'm wondering if I should end the stream and then message Revan, or I don't, or should I keep the stream up until he gets here? Or are you ending your stream, Bowser?
No, I'm gonna continue casting. I'm gonna cast
Okay.
the rest of the matches tonight.
I mean, I guess I could talk a bit on. I mean, do you want to talk how how they should have improved their push there, like on the map strat, so then people can know what to do next time?
Really quick, let me remake the lobby so we can get that going real fast. And absolutely, why don't you start while I'm doing the lobby real quick?
Yes, I can. We get the map selected. So for focus, initially having the bigs and Bravo spawned and going right through the valley into E6, and then they had their light lands basically pushed right over to E4, contesting the other lights from Revenant side, and they were basically skirmishing on that side until their bigs were ready to push. But I felt like the bigs didn't need to go up into D6 and do that, because it would have been basically the same distance from where they went up the hill right through, right to their Revenant bigs. And it actually, they would have had to expose more to even damage focus bigs if they went right to the low ground instead of going around. If they went right to the low ground, they would have been protected from the hill, and they would have been in range faster with their raw weapons. And I think their mediums could have been, I think the mediums on focus side were taking a little bit too much damage, waiting for their bigs push up. And I think having Revenant like stacked on D5 made them focus targets better by doing that, because they were delaying.
So
Go ahead, Bowser.
sorry, I was just saying we have everything set up at this point for the next series. So kind of looking at the map, I mean, I think your assessments are legitimately spot on. So I think the about what I could add to it is I would like to have seen their lights be perhaps a little bit even more aggressive. Maybe the timing could have been shallowed by about 10 seconds there. I also think their priority focusing was a bit awkward. Like, I think you have to kill that Crusader. It's just an obvious kill. It is legitimately a mech that can kill just about any single mech in this game, 1v1, if it gets the opportunity to, and let alone multiple, right? Well, multiple lights just stacked up. I mean, it just absolutely just decimates them if it's just left alive. I think you just have to dive that mech and kill it super fast. The Storm Rhino kill was good. I just did the Storm Rhino focus was very good. So I would agree that you so there's two things to it, I guess, right? So if we kind of look at it a little bit closer, the way they had their bigs kind of in that circle there is good for two things, right? It's good for splitting the attention of 5Js or not 5, I'm sorry, Revenant's mechs. So it's great for splitting the attention of Revenant's mechs, because you basically have them in a crossfire. However, there isn't much of a crossfire happening because the lights aren't getting much pressure on the Revenant mechs there, all standing in D5, right? So you kind of just made a scenario where all of Revenant's mechs are able to just turn left and just hard stare the bigs. So when you realize that's happening, the lights just have to go for it. You have to send it. And I think had the lights, again, maybe 10, 15 seconds shallower on the timing, I think that could have made a big difference in their push there.
I agree what you said there. I mean, if focus lights actually had range and they were splitting the attention, like you said, having a crossfire, if they had more range, they would have been able to get back shots on their assaults, but they didn't. So basically, it was useless by doing that. Let me see if I need to go. If Revan is not here, I might just stay here with you.
Yes, we still have about 15 minutes till the next match.
Oh, it's 15 minutes?
It is about 15 minutes.
Okay. Potato and Srot next game. Did you fix your scoreboard? Or whatever they were talking about?
I'm not sure what they're talking about. As far as I'm aware, the scoreboard's correct. It's been correct, so that was kind of my confusion earlier.
Let me look at your stream. Oh, I don't know if they're talking about the PNG for focus picture. Is that this new one?
It should be the right one. Unless it's not.
Well, I don't think it really matters anymore. I'm going to I think mute the stream and then try to talk to someone.
We are casting Potato Carry Society versus Sky Ranger Jaegers in about 5-minute start time till this match. So I'll just take us over to a map chat real quick while we just wait for everybody to get into lobby. So maybe just go over a slight recap of the series we just saw for those tuning in at home. So we started on Bear Claw here. Clean some of this stuff up a little bit. So we started on Bear Claw. We saw Fjord Focus versus 10th Lyrian Revenants. So very interesting. And I just can't help but continue to point this out, right? Just for everybody watching at home, if you're playing Bear Claw and you give up Southside is objectively the better side for playing a more balanced match, right? So if you're giving that up voluntarily, as Fjord Focus did, then you kind of have to expect a couple things coming. And Revenant, we saw they had very strong positions, something like that to start with, and they started shifting all of their people right because again, this like most of the maps in this championship is a lot about scouting, right? So you're gonna see a lot of just everything. You're gonna see a lot of everything just by jumping around and just by looking around. And so that was exactly what Revenant did with some of their lights, kind of something sort of like that, a little bit. And so when we saw the Fjord Focus mechs, basically just the bigs, almost just kind of barreling through Theta a little bit, just a little bit something like that, a little bit something like this. They tried to get a little bit of a cap hole, but then they ended up stopping right around at this rock while the Revenant mechs all kind of stopped right in this area. Something a little bit like that. So it's just, and then they kind of balled up there, and it was pretty interesting. But as soon as Revenant realized what was happening, they basically just did a big old counter push, something a little bit like that, something a little bit like that, and a little bit like that, and kind of just approached them on all the lines. And Fior was able to get quite a few of Revenant's mechs killed, and they were able to bring the caps to about, I believe it was about 500 or 550, might have been a little bit more than that. But I think going into this next series here, something I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see that if we see a similar sort of push coming from Team 1, right? Whoever happens to be Team 1 on Bear Claw, if we see Bear Claw played in this series, then I'd like to see the lights, rather than just going to fight and just going to fight in their inevitable deaths, start running around and capping, right? Start running around to maybe start running around to like that, start running around to that, just run all around, right? Theta's no man's lane, you kind of have to leave that alone, but just get their mechs, get them to like split up, get their mechs to split up, and maybe even if you catch people out, if your lights preserve enough HP, you can keep that rolling. So we are getting very close to match time at this point, with a little bit of just random map talk to fill the air, if you will. So we should be getting Heavenward in the lobby shortly from Potato Carry Society.
I don't know if you want me to send me an invite to the lobby.
Yeah, let me get you in here. Sorry about that.
Do you want to type that, Hauser? Or do you want me to?
Yes, I will. I will tell them. So we will start the map bans. So start map bans when ready has been called. They are ready to start. Oh, I'm on the wrong map ban link.
Yeah, that I changed that. You need the link? Or do you already have it?
It has been changed over. So we do see Potato Care Society banning or picking Bear Claw. I'm sorry. Now it is next to Sky Rangers. They do pick Viridian, so the exact same layout we did see from the previous set. Will Potato Kick pick Frozen?
Potato picked HPG.
So there we go. So we'll start with Bear Claw, Viridian, HPG, Frozen, and then finally Terra. Now we're picking sides. Sky Rangers picking Southside Bear Claw. That's about what you'd expect to see. Good to see that coming from Sky Rangers. We're not gonna. Well, we may see a counter push or something of that nature come from Potato Carry, but it will not be from Sky Rangers. We've seen a lot of times teams are picking the north side of Bear Claw, and all I have to wonder about that is that's just very confusing to me, right? We've talked about it a whole bunch already tonight. It's just you're at too much of a disadvantage for playing in a number of specific ways if you pick that south side of the map, or sorry, if you pick that north side of the map. So as I'm rambling on here, they are just about done with map bans. So there we have Sky Rangers on Southside Frozen City. We have Potato Carry North Side, and then Terra Therma. So I will start doing the side swap right about now. That will be our map bans.
I'm expecting Srot and Potato to do control strats on Bear Claw. And I wonder who's gonna play for or fight over Theta. If they do try to fight over Theta with their lights, or will they just send their lights in the side caps and do side battles?
So we have the side swap complete now. At this point, Team 1 is on the clock, 5 minutes. Oh, we need to change the map actually real quick.
Yes.
I'm doing everything all at once here. There we go. So the map is picked. That part is finally done. All right, cool. So let us go over to the map strat. Maybe we can talk a little bit about it.
So, what team side do you think is stronger for a controls side anyway?
So the south side is objectively better for controlling, and here's why, right? Not only is Theta closer to the south spawn, so literally if you have a light mech of equal speed spawn south and a light mech of equal speed spawn north, the south mech will always make it first, and more than likely not be able to get cap points on the cap rather than north side. And in addition, we have this very strong sort of G6 rock right here. We're not seeing a lot of teams use it too much yet, but this rock, if you put any sort of lasers on it, can shoot right past this all onto Theta, covering all these sorts of angles. The only thing it can't see is just like all the way to the left here, which is almost no man's land, right? So it's mainly those two reasons, to be quite honest, but that's just enough to make it untenable to control from the north, you'd have to basically bully off a lot of different positions coming from the north. You have to bully off a lot of different positions. You have to bully it off almost everything around here, almost everything around here. It's just very untenable just to get Theta, because the reality is Theta is a very open cap. Yes, you have buildings sort of to the left and right, just a little bit something like that, but it's still just so open that any sort of light mech just absolutely numing anywhere up here, nume anywhere up there, can just, I mean, you can just get free denies and Theta all day long from all sorts of little angles, and there's just not much that can be done about it. So at that point, if you're north side, you understand that Theta is not yours. At that point, you're playing Sigma Kappa Epsi, and that can be just as hard. Epsi is so easy to deny with just a single light mech coming in here. As I am talking, just way too much talking.
Yeah,
so
we
both sides are locked super fast. Very good. We're just gonna cut the crap and we're just gonna straight into the match here. So
Let's
I will
do
just
that.
switch us right over. All the teams launching. We are good to go, and we are launching. Very fast locks. Love to see it.
Looks like Team 1 chose Alpha Bravo, but Lances really don't say anything. But I am expecting Srot. Srot's Team 1, right? I think they are, right? If Srot is doing a controller side, then they're going to try to get Sigma, Theta, Epsi, or maybe Kappa, depending on what their lights are going to. I think it's going to be Epsi because they are spawning Bravo Alpha, but.
All right. I think these teams are going to be pretty closely matched in skill, to be entirely honest with you. This is going to be a fun series to watch coming into this. So we're looking at PCSX mechs. So we're going to see Osiris 3D. We're going to see a Hellfire Void, Stone Rhino 1, Jenner 2 C2. We're going to see a Nitro J-Kite. We're going to see an Executioner A, Shadowcat D, and a Viper F. What do you see over there on S-Route?
Okay, I say a Viper F, a Marauder 2C, a Flea 19, a Locust 3V, a Ryan Skull, XEM, Shadowcat B, Star Rhino 1.
So looking through the builds a little bit, we see Patchy has an MRM 10, Ear Smalls, Light Machine Guns on that Osiris 3D, heading straight for Theta, normal Shadowcat from Black Kaiman, normal Flea, we have a pretty normal Ear Medium LMG Viper, we have a Laser Vomit Hybrid Executioner from Edward Ash, Gadolidium AC10 ERPPC Stone Rhino, not opting for the Plasma like most of the Stone Rhinos run. An interesting choice, I would say, Marauder 2C. That's a very interesting choice. Just a standard Marauder 2C, Forkless Boom Wrecker, Light Machine Gun, Medium X Pulse, Locust 3V. I believe that's the Cap Locust. We see the Hellfire Void, 2 large pulse, Hag 30, very normal stuff. Nitro J-Kite, 4 AC5s Plasma. That is actually very interesting. So they're expecting to receive some sort of push with that pick, in my opinion, from Sky Rangers of Terra here.
I'm surprised that Marauder 2C is, like, with that weaponry, I feel like it's a little bit undergunned.
I would agree with that. Might be a standard engine, which wouldn't be a bad choice on this map, actually. So we do see, of course, the prophesized South Side getting Theta first has come to pass, and Sky Rangers are sitting on that comfortable early 3 cap. So at this point, if you're Potato Carry, you need to quickly figure out a solution for Kappa, because this map can just kind of be a stalemate if both teams play this sort of cagey rotating control style, which is exactly what they're doing. So we do see Potato Carry is acting, though. They're acting pretty fast. They're moving their Nitro, Stone Rhino, Executioner. They're starting to move a lot of their assets towards the Epsilon side of the map, with the Hellfire, Jenner, Viper already on that side of the map.
I think what Potato is trying to do is spread toward, like, across the airfields, which is kind of a good idea.
I think it's a good idea, doubly so, very considering, or very awkwardly, I should say, we have the S-Route mechs all just clumped up on Theta, if you notice that. I don't like that at all. I think some of those bigs need to be pulling distance and pulling ground, or even the lights, either or. You can't have both just sitting on the same ground here. And we see kind of Pinky Feldman and that Marauder just basically getting crossfire to death almost. He's already orange, 85%. We're just going to see a lot of crossfire hits. And Pinky Feldman is almost getting red, 80%. Pinky Feldman is absolutely just getting drilled there in the Marauder. He's forced to take cover in the building. They're just getting crossfired because Esrot sent every single one of the mechs on in the Theta cap. I'm not sure. What do you think about this?
I'm very confused what Strat is trying to do here. Are they just trying to die on Theta, or are they trying to actually, trade? But I'm not even sure. They're all, they're getting pincered all around the map. They're losing ground. And
they're literally getting crossfire from every single angle right now. Actually, every possible angle, just about, they're getting crossfired from. It's actually impressive.
Strat is pushing across the first airfield, or to the first airfield, and they're losing a lot of HP by doing this.
So it's a very interesting strategy from Esrot, right? They spawned south, they got Theta, they got the early 3 cap, they still are sitting on a 3 cap, and yet they've elected to push onto PCX's side of the map. I'm not sure about this one. You already see Pinky Feldman super hurt. He's realistic, only a few shots away from death. Gatoidium also ran the Storm Round of 65%. He's also only a few shots away from death. They're going to need to trade very well here into PCS.
Potato's been doing a good job by trading here with their long range. Their Storm Round is actually very healthy, so if they try to push out, I think that thing is just gonna kill every mech that goes around the corner.
So we do see Esrot is very smartly, they sent off one of their lights, actually 2 of their lights. Gray Fox, who is open, or he's actually missing an arm, so half of his machine guns, and Levitas in the Flea, they are going to grab Sigma, so Esrot's going to maintain that 3 cap, in spite of the fact that they seed Theta to Potato Carry. They're still in a very bad crossfire, though. Doesn't fix that issue, even with the 3 cap. I don't know how long they're going to hold. We see Bud Light coming around the corner in that Stone Rhino. Very fitting name, very fitting player, and a very fitting mech coming around there, absolutely just charging him. He's going to push in with his own slave. Good try, Patchy, Rabbit Squirrel. They're going to get Pinky Feldman in the Jenner, and they're crossfired from the other side too by Valkyrie and the Executioner. It's going to be an absolute rout here for the Esrot mechs, as we see all of their assaults just down, one after the other. Black Canon goes down. Penzal in the Skull, he goes down. And at that point, it's just Esrot's lights. Levitas even goes down, just absolutely snapshotted by the big bulk of Potato Carry forces. Potato Carry mechs even. And then we just see Gray Fox and Fork the Spoonwrecker going to try and run around and salvage the cap game for Esrot.
Bud Light going around the corner, tanking for his team there was very good. He didn't really tank that much. He was dishing out a lot of damage while doing that. So he was killing things left and right.
And the way they made that split was very important.
Yes.
Because you have that big Stone Rhino, that big scary mech that's going to attract all of the fire and focus from Esrot. And then you have the Executioner on the other side of that split, just completing the pincer, literally. And it doesn't get any more perfect than that. You don't want those guys stacked together. You want the Executioner sponging on the back line. You want it inserting those lasers into the rears of those Esrot mechs there on that corner. You don't want it with the Rhino. So their split there was absolutely perfect with the Stone Rhino on one side and the Executioner, the faster mech on the other side. Very well played with that split on that corner there from Potato Carry. And we do see Gray Fox is kind of caught out here on Epsilon. He's intercepted by Extra Better and Valkyrie and the Executioner and the Nitger. He is not long for this world. Maybe can kill Valkyrie. Going in here.
It looks like Fork is trying to help Gray Fox here, killing the Xe as fast as he can.
I think that's a good play to try and get that Xe down. But, of course, here comes Patchy. They do get the Xe down, but here comes Patchy and the Osiris. It's going to 1v1. Both. No, Patchy's leg is open. Gray Fox does go down in that Viper, so it's just going to be Fork the Spoonwrecker. Maybe he can kill Heaven Warrior.
Oh, he goes down.
Nope, that is it. Very well played to Potato Carry. A 7-1 victory. Very clean. Very, very, very clean. I think Esrot had a good starting position, but they shouldn't have ran all their mechs on the Theta. They denied all angles, and in doing so, because they actually took the less ranged mechs, like they had the mid-range Vom Xe, they had the Vom Marauder, they had the AC-10 Rhino, they didn't have as much range as Potato Carry. And we saw that Nitger, that 4AC5 Plasma Cannon Nitger, putting in good work, 724 damage from Extra Better. I think he was one of the big ones that put them in that crossfire. Of course, those Clan AC5s do having about 900-ish meters of range, so legitimately a long-range mech.
Yeah.
Very well played.
Having that, you said the Nitger was AC5s, right?
Yes, it was 4
Yeah,
AC5s and a plasma.
yeah, I can do some work at range. But having a night gear can be almost a weak link because of its being very big CT and not as fast mech. So they played it right by taking it, using it for range and for
Absolutely.
pushes. What is the next map? Let's see.
So the next map is going to be Viridian Bog. We will be swapping sides.
Yes.
I believe that is correct. We are good to go. Side and swamp map, 5 minutes for team 1. So, yeah, that was I really like SROT cannot just like give up all the map control like that.
Yeah, they need to spread out.
Particularly with the mechs they brought, right? Like we saw in the previous series with FGRD. FGRD did something like so they brought more pushing mechs on Bear Claw, right? We kind of saw it happen very similarly with FGRD, where they basically just pushed through Theta and then got stuck on a rock. In fact, on the opposite side of the rock that Sky Rangers got stuck on, right? But they took faster and more aggressive mechs to do it with and tankier mechs to do it with. So they were able to get to that rock faster. They didn't bleed as much HP doing so, and they weren't as indecisive. It seemed like Sky Rangers were very indecisive there, standing on the Theta cap with all their bigs, especially Pinky Feldman, the Marauder. I'm not sure what he was planning to accomplish, but he's just outranged, outgunned, out armored, out everything there, standing on Theta with that Marauder. Oh.
I think what I wanted to see from Strat was having their bigs maybe like hide low ground E5 or have their big split around the ramps. So if they do try to push up, they would have multiple angles to, deal with Potato Society if they did try to push up. But I think they just needed to, survive longer to get more points and try to hold Theta as long as they can without taking too much damage.
Agreed. I think SROT would have been a lot better off that match. They would have been better backing off of Theta and trying to make more of a concave onto that Theta cap. We can even pull up the map strat a little bit, just a little bit what we're talking about here. Put that over real quickly as these teams ready and lock up. So SROT kind of just balled everything from that south side, just literally just like a cluster, just an absolute cluster of mechs there. Would have been a lot better if maybe, let's say you put the Marauder here. Let's say you put or even the Stone Rhino. Sorry. Let's just say you put the Stone Rhino here. Let's say you put the Marauder here. Let's say you put the XE out wide right. Just with those changes, you make those guys, you pull those guys out of your crossfire and you give them crossfire onto Theta, meaning PCX has to get aggressive on either one of the side caps or they have to just push onto Theta, which is just playing to your advantage if you're Esra out there sitting on that Theta cap. Like the way they played, it seemed like to me they didn't realize or they didn't think they could have a cap advantage, which is strange considering they were on south side.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they literally didn't go for Epsi as well. Like, I feel like Kappa's more dangerous than Epsi in the early game. Both teams could definitely like send wolf packs on side caps, but if if you're not playing to catch someone, you just have to worry about the other team trying to catch you. But like you said, Strat should have done what you said. Team one.
Let's look at Viridian a little bit.
Yeah, let's look at. So, where do you think Potato will set up Or if they are gonna set up, maybe do receive some or a control strat.
So kind of looking at the lobby right now, we see Esrod is locked in Alpha Charlie on Team 1, which means I that says to me they're not really playing left side of the map. They're not going to really be trying to play backwards like we saw FGRD do earlier. I think they're going to be playing more forwards, more aggressively. And to be honest, I think that might benefit them because we kind of saw what happened when the trade game was just evened out. We kind of saw that PCX just took it ahead, literally, with their excellent crossfire onto the SRL Mux sitting on Theta, Mex rather sitting on Theta. So
I honestly think Strop may actually do a push. Have Charlie Lens go low ground and have Alpha Lenses go over E5.
I think so too. And this is a elimination match for both of these teams. So I would expect to see things we've not seen before from either side. I would expect to see things coming out of both these teams we haven't seen the entire tournament.
Yeah.
To be quite frankly honest.
For Team 2 side Lances, you don't really, it doesn't really tell much either. I mean, they could also push, but I don't expect Potato to push.
I would agree. I think after that first game, if you're a Potato carry, you're thinking that you just need to play your game. You need to play your range game. Just play just a very standard round of MechWarrior Online, and you're up a game. You're up not even up a set. Sorry, but you're up a game. You're very very comfortable if you're PCS right now. I think after seeing that last match, but again, it's Viridian Bog. It is, and we have traditionally seen a lot of pushes come from Team 1 side. In fact, I would argue more pushes, successful ones at least, come from Team 1 than Team 2 throughout the duration of this tournament, and that would include in CompQ, I suppose. So, I do see these teams.
I agree.
Readying up. They're just about ready here. They do say locked, so I think we're just going to go straight into it. We're launching. Both teams at 480 tons, notably. Not much tonnage deviation here. So ready to go as we load in here. Going back to a little bit what I was saying about that pushing stuff. So if you're really PCSX, you're sticking to the fundamentals here. You're scouting as much as you can because Viridian is the hard map to scout on. It can be a very difficult map to scout on, especially if your people get pushed away or shoved off or whatever the case may be here. So let's talk about some of these mechs here. So I'm on the S-Rod side. We're going to have a Stone Rhino 1. We're going to have a Nightstar 10P. S-Rod really liking that Nightstar 10P. Very off-meta pick. We're going to see an Osiris 1P, Marauder Alpha. We're going to see a Mislinks G, Viper F, Shadowcat, Mishipeshu, and then the Phoenix Hawk 7S.
I wish I can call their mechs out, but I am so loading. I feel like I am not going to load.
I will go the other mechs here as the match starts. So we're going to have a Stone Rhino from Potato Carry. We're going to have a Stone Rhino 1, Executioner Prime, Ice Spirit J, Charger 3K. We're going to have an Osiris 1P, Firestarter A, Orion 2C, a standard Orion 2C, very notably here, and a Flea 19.
Okay, I am finally in.
Mechs are powering up here, just scrolling through some of these builds a little bit. So we're going to see 4 AC5s, heavy PPC on Edward Ash, the Nightstar 10P. Valkyrie's Executioner is going to be just double large pulse with a bunch of small pulse and micros. Very interesting build, actually. I like it. We're going to see the Ice Spirit J, pretty standard stuff. Micro pulse with that single flamer. Very good pick from the single flamer. AC10 plasmas from Bud Light Stone Rhino. Normal Flea 19. You're not going to see any deviation there. The Osiris 1P is 2 medium X pulse, 4 HMGs. Going very fast. Going straight to Theta with 3 of the other lights that are next to him. And we see Heaven Warriors Orion 2C. Interesting build here. 3 beam lasers utilizing the HSL Cork with 3 SRM4s. Just assumably because they're free to fit on that mech with those weapons. Small pulses on the Firestarter. The Shadowcat Mishipeshu from Panazzo on S-Rod side. Beam lasers and LMGs. I like it, actually. I think beams are pretty strong on this map. I like to see the beams coming out from both teams here. Snubnose PPC Smalls and Black Kaiman's Phoenix Hawk. Gray Viper Machine Gun Small Pulse. And Missing She, pretty standard stuff. Marauder Alpha, pretty standard. UAC 5, UAC 2, and that is going to be it for our builds here.
It looks like
How
Slave is
much is-
trying to get info on the donut.
it looks like that actually Potato Carry is going to be the ones pushing.
That is, I mean, they have a Charger 3K with medium volume. I don't know how well that's gonna do well in the push.
Very interesting pick with that Charger.
Yeah. It looks like
oh, the fight's already starting. We see Valkyr and 3 of Potato Carry's lights are gonna dive Edward Ash. They're pushing him off. Rabbit is gonna jump on Edward Ash. They're also pushing off Carlson. Gadolinium is gonna drop too. Gadolinium is getting actually drilled by Valkyr. Valkyr's not really getting focused. Pinky Feldman is on Valkyr. Valkyr needs to be careful, of course. But Pinky Feldman does go down. This is actually just a crazy fight right now.
Yeah,
actually. Extra Bedroom's about to go down the Charger. We see Patchy kill Edward Ash with a combination of Valkyrie. So can Valkyrie and Edward Ash kill Gadolinium? I don't think they're going to be able to. Gadolinium kills Patchy. Valkyrie's not long for this world. We see good try. He's going to get in as much damage as he can. I don't know if he's going to be able to do enough. Try and get that Stone Rhino down. That's all he can do about it at this point. He does actually kill Gadolinium. It is pretty even, neck and neck, with Black Hyman and the Phoenix Hawk going down next. We're going to see Heaven Warrior and Bud Light just charging in there, basically full HP with their very high DPS heavies and assaults. They might actually be able to clean up here. His own slave does self-destruct, though, for Potato Carry. Carlson is legged in front of Bud Light. Bud Light's going to take him down. Fork the Spoonwrecker is also legged. Carlson goes down at the exact same time as Fork the Spoonwrecker, and it's just going to be Gray Fox and Panazzo versus the 3 mechs, Flea of Good Try, Bud Light, Stone Rhino, and then Heaven Warriors, Orion.
Them having a Stone Rhino near the end, so healthy, is crazy. I think
absolutely.
I think that mech being alive at the end made it carry.
It's very similar to the Crusader. If you're pushing and there's a number of mechs you see, and you see a Stone Rhino 1 with those AC-10s, you just have to kill it first. And that's what Clutch succeeded on doing to Gadolinium's Stone Rhino 1 with AC-10s, but that's what Esrut did not succeed on doing to Bud Light Stone Rhino for Potato Carry, and he's basically fresh. And at this point, it's just going to be a full-on, as I'm into the terrain here, it's going to be a full-on route for Esrut's lights. Gray Fox's leg is open at this point. Panazzo is pretty much worse for wear as well. He has an open leg.
I feel like if Srot wanted to catch something right now, it would be the Flea. And if the Flea overextends, but I think the Shadowcat went in too early there.
Yeah, I think the Shadowcat's in. I'm not sure why the Shadowcat dived in there. He just went straight in for that attack, and he's going to go down for it. Gray Fox is going to try and get Sigma. At this point, it's just going to be the last stand of Gray Fox. Who can he kill? I don't think he can stop the pain train that is Good Try's Flea, though. Good Try's leg is open, of course. And then Heaven Warrior, who's completely fresh. I believe in you, Gray Fox. Let's see you take out the Flea. But of course, the Flea is really good range. So the Flea actually deviates because he knows his leg is open. That's actually very smart. And they're just sending Heaven Warrior. And that is just it. That Orion with those triple beams and storms just killed Gray Fox just insta.
Man, that was intense. Like, that was crazy. That brawl, I didn't expect a brawl from both teams like that.
Yeah, that actually was crazy. That was pretty close, all things considered. I just think the difference in like target prioritization, for the two teams, and I think Esserot's assaults just all standing there, just making themselves a target. I think that kind of just dictated the flow of the battle. Like, Potato Carry knew that coming in, and they're just like, okay, we will throw away all of our lights and our executioner to get these men killed. And that's exactly what they did. They did it very well.
I'm very surprised they focused the Charger first instead of the Stone Rhino.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having Strat when some of their assaults were dropping down, some of them didn't. So if they wanted to drop down earlier, they should have just dropped down together instead of one by one. They bled so much from doing that.
So this time we're going to HPG. We haven't seen HPG. I don't think we've seen HPG yet today. I'm mistaken.
Earlier today, yes. The first game that happened, we did see it.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So we will be seeing HPG for the second time today. If I can find the map. So there it is. We're not going to swap sides.
Yeah, we don't need to.
So we'll start the timer for team 1 there. Well, what is there really to talk about that match? I think there's a lot we could go over for that last match. But I think it might be more prudent to talk about HBG right now. So what can we go over with HBG here?
I think both teams will actually do control on the last match. I don't see Srot like pushing. If they do actually push, it will be like some kind of like mid bomb like push, and one like long range trader. If they wanted to do some kind of push, same thing with potatoes. But I feel like potatoes will do some funny things on the wall. Maybe.
So I actually think a little bit differently. So potatoes sitting here up 2 matches. I don't think they have to do anything fancy at all. They showed they can play a very standard game on that Bear Claw match, as we saw earlier. They can play a very normal sort of control-y, crossfire-y, sort of positional-based match. I think they're going to do the same here on HVG. And so it's SROT down to their, it could be their final game in this entire tournament here, down here in the losers bracket before they're eliminated. So at this point, I think it's up to SROT to actually just pull something crazy out of their rear ends. Can they do it? I think they definitely can do it. What do you think we might see?
I think if
SROT?
I think Srot, if they want to do a Hail Mary, I think they would do some kind of push. But doing a push from team 1 side is more trickier than doing it from team 2, in my opinion. So I wonder how they would actually do that if they do a push. But I think Srot might do like a wall thing. Like, I don't know if you saw the first match today. First French did like a wall type of like control. Like everyone was on the wall, no one was in the middle at all, and they were taking side caps or like taking the side cap control. So I don't think Srot will do that, but I think Srot will just actually do a push strat or a regular just control. I don't see anything interesting from Srot.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm just absolutely speechless. I don't know. I think SROT just has to really just do something crazy. I can't even I can't even predict what it is that they could do or could not do at this point in time. They just have to be crazy with it. They really just have to be crazy with it. And I think where you might see them being crazy with it is perhaps on the wall coming from that team 1 side. Really, we could see sort of a crossfire approach on the wall. Something maybe like this, something maybe like that. It's just really hard to predict, especially on a map like HBG. But again, you're down to your last game potentially in this tournament as SROT. You're just going crazy with it, honestly.
I think they're gonna do some Hail Mary like push strat here. I'm very certain. Seeing Srot position himself like Bravo Charlie, they're definitely gonna take more of the south side control, having one of their lights get Epsi for making sure they don't know what they're doing.
Agreed.
And then Potatoes doing Alpha Bravo Charlie having more of even playing field or map control. They're gonna have people in F4 probably sitting there scouting, and they're gonna have someone jump up to D3 maybe to scout to see what Srot is gonna do. Looks like Potatoes about to be locked in.
Both teams locking pretty fast throughout this tournament, especially SROT. Actually, very interesting. They're locking so fast. All right. So both teams are locked. We're going to get straight into this third and potentially final match of this series.
Ready? We're launching. Hopefully my game can load fast enough.
True.
I didn't have this problem today.
All right, so
Alrighty.
both teams are coming in here. We're gonna look at Clutch first. That's where my camera is. So they have a Highlander 2CA, Jenner 2C, Standard with Serms, Mistlinks, Eben Dragoon, also with Serms, Charger number 7, Viper F, Shadowcat D, XCA, and a Crusader 6T.
Did you do Strahd there?
I did Clutch.
No. Okay, I'll do Strahd. They have a Charger 1A1, Storano Colossus, XCA 6T, Mistlinks G, Phoenix Hog, Viper, and then a Cyrus 1P. I'm wondering what they have in their Colossus.
It looks like an absolute full push. S-Rod is just steaming through this gate right now towards Potato Carry.
It looks like the Colossus has Garcia Large and Serms, so I think they're gonna be definitely doing a push right through the middle. Probably push up top. And it looks like Potato is setting up to push into Theta as well here. So we might be seeing a huge brawl in basement, which I did not expect.
So looking at the Colossus, by the way, you were asking about the Colossus. It's 2 Goss, 4 ER large, and 6 Serm 4s. I'm not sure about that, running that in the basement.
Yeah.
I like it because it can shoot onto the wall, but you just have it running into the basement. I'm not sure about that one. See, so we do see S-Rod taking dominant control of Theta. I think Potato Carry knows the gig. They know what's happening. They are fully aware that, like, where are these people, right? That's what you're thinking if you're Potato Carry right now. Like, where are these people? If they're not on the wall, they're not running around. They just took Theta. They full capped it. Well, where could these guys be? Okay. Well, we do see S-Rot Mechs, the Stone Rhino, Executioner, Crusader, and the Charger, basically all the bigs coming out of Theta. And see, we're running into a problem right now with S-Rot strategy. Nobody on the wall, nobody maintaining any sort of high ground. And so we see the Potato Carry mechs just kind of having a field day over the top of HBG right now, really getting pretty good focus. We see Pinky Feldman is a little bit too far forward, and this Crusader taking a big hit from Good Try and the Jenner. Another big hit. Pinky Feldman's going to be the pick here. His own slave is very hurt. Pinky Feldman is absolutely the kill here. There goes Pinky Feldman. That's not the mech you want to be losing first there in that Crusader. Big brawl happening with Ezra Slides coming in the rear Potato Carry mechs. But Potato Carry is just going to press forward and try and kill everything in front of them. Edward, Ash, Panazzo, and Galvanime, the Stone Rhino. They're in a crossfire, though. Potato Carry is in a really bad crossfire with Heaven Weird and this Crusader going down next. This is just an absolute brawl from both of these teams right now. Crazy stuff. Black Kaiman and Bud Light basically dying at the exact same time, right together.
Valkyrie going down soon. He's one touch right leg, basically. He goes down.
There goes Savronis. There goes Valkyrie. Pretty even match, though, especially as his own slave is about to go down. And when it does, it's going to be a 4 versus 3. However, Gato-Eddie and that Stone Rhino getting focused down super quickly by those Serms and machine guns coming from Potato Carry. There he goes down in that super hot Stone Rhino, not able to keep up that firepower with those ER larges and all those Serms together. Just super, super hot. Patchy might be about to go down. Fourth of Spoonwrecker does get legged. Patchy does go down. Fourth of Spoonwrecker next. Then it's just going to be Good Try, who is legged. This is pretty close. This is pretty close because when Good Try goes down in his leg Jenner, there he goes. He goes down. Gray Fox is pretty fresh. However, the problem now is extra better and then Highlander 2CA. That's going to be a big problem for Esra Lights. I think at this point, if you're Esra, you're bailing. You're running for the 7 Suns and you're just going to play a cap game at this point.
I agree with your point there. I think what they should do is have Extra get Theta and then have Rabid go for the side caps here, because they know they're getting their own home caps. So Rabid should definitely just go to Epsilon Gamma, but they're not doing that. I think they're gonna go chase and kill. Which
they're wanting to chase. I don't know if that's going to work for them. That Highlander is just really slow. And like the problem is, as far as I can see, let's look at the percentages here. So Gray Fox's legs are orange armor, orangish reddish, but he's not open anywhere. Extra better than the Highlander, of course, very fresh. ERPPC Serms, Rabido Squirrel getting a little bit hurt, but he's still pretty good in that mislinks. And then Black Kaiman, of course, though, is basically one shot in the rear and also one shot left leg. So if Potato Carry is aware of that, they might be able to make something happen on that Black Kaiman. They might be able to convert that Black Kaiman pick. if they get a good shot on that left leg, and maybe that's what they're hoping for. Of course, we do see the Highlander going down and taking Theta, and we see Rabbitoh Squirrel is going to take Epsilon. So at this point, it's just like an absolute cap game. These guys have spread to the 4 wins.
I think it might be tricky if they do send, the Phoenix Hawks and Viper on the Highlander. Yes. I think the Highlander might actually win the 1v2 because how healthy he is right now.
Yes, and the Phoenix Hawk, again, is one good shot, not even a good shot, one bad shot on his left leg from getting legged, and then he's out. Of course, we do see the Highlander pushing towards the Viper and the Phoenix. Will he catch either of them? He might. They do have to do something, though. They need a good shot in here from Clutch, not Clutch. Potato Carry, because Potato Carry is much down on caps. They're down about 200 on the caps right now.
Oh, extra better sees the Phoenix Hawk trying to go to the basement here.
Gray Fox is gonna. Oh, this is. I don't like this. This is really bad. Gray Fox is just running past the Mistlinks. I don't think you can afford to run past the Mistlinks. He's gonna certainly try. Mistlinks is just getting free damage into him though at this point in time. Actually, no, he's not. He's not taking very much damage from the storms at all.
Wow, they did.
Rabbitoh Square having trouble. And the Phoenix Hawk made it away too. He
ran away.
Diamond.
Yeah.
So I think Gray Fox got legged. Gray Fox got legged. Okay, so at this point, if you're Gray Fox, you need to trade out your leg for his leg. That's the only chance you have left in this match. I don't think he's going to get it, though.
I don't think so either. I think Rabbit
is about one shot from going down.
Yeah,
there he goes. So now it's a 2v1 with Black Hyman, one shot in the left leg still. Rabbitoh Squirrel does get very hurt, but of course, look at the caps. It took them so long to do that. That was a great diversionary maneuver. It took them so long. Esrod is sitting on 650 caps right now.
I kind of felt like Stride didn't have to do that, but I think they're still going to win the game because how much they cap.
I think that was such a big delay, and it just sucks having the Highlander. The Highlander is just not really relevant. I think it should not have been chasing people around. I think the Highlander needed to just be sitting on caps, unfortunately. And
I agree on that.
Black Hyman, he knows what the gig is up. He's just going to sit. At this point, they're pretty much on 1 cap. Esrod is just about on a 1 cap. So all Black Hyman has to do is just deny Gamma. Because even if extra better here on that Highlander who's coming over, even if he stands on the cap, all Black Hyman has to do is deny it for 10, 15, 20 seconds at the cost of his life. Black Hyman is wiggling in anticipation there, ready for this fight. I think this is going to go in favor of Esrot, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Very good comeback from Esrot. We talked about it earlier with some of these teams and their lights not wanting to play caps and wanting to just commit to fights. And we see Esrot took those lessons to heart, and they, instead of committing their lights to a fight that it's just impossible they're ever going to win that against a fresh assault, you just have to run and abuse your speed. And that will be game 3.
I'm very surprised in the beginning of the fight when Esrot had further, mediums and lights in the basement. So while Potato just literally was all on top of the assaults, I can't believe that they lost that fight.
I think Esrot just had they had a good response. Their lights were ready to jump in the back of Potato Carry. And that's really what helped bring that match so close as it was. Well, very well played to both teams. Such a close, really good fight, honestly. That was a great match to watch and a great match to take some lessons from if your team's still in this tournament trying to learn a thing or two. That's a great match to take a lot of lessons from. So now at this point,
it is
straight on to Frozen City. We will swap sides.
Yep. This is one of the first few games that are actually going to game 4 here.
Yeah, we've had a lot of just 3-0s in this tournament, actually. I think the majority have games. A majority of games in this entire tournament actually have been 3-0s. Actually, Have all of them? I think all of them might have been.
Almost all of them have been.
Almost all of them. Yeah.
The Mantra and Potatoes actually went to Game 5.
Right.
I don't know what to expect for Frozen City here.
I don't know either. I still like you're Esra, you're feeling really good after that win. And if you're Potato, you're thinking, okay, well, we need to be more worried potentially about Lights capping us out. Potato Carry is still one game away from closing out this series and eliminating Esra from the tournament. Let's take a look here at what a Frozen might look like from these two teams.
I think Potato being on Team 1, they have a good advantage. I'm very interested in seeing how Strat will deal with them on Team 2. I'm more concerned about what Strat will do.
Absolutely.
I think Potato will definitely just try to like keep a 3 cap. I think they should try not to do anything risky. I feel like they've been doing risky things, especially on the last game. Having a Highlander up on the wall, I think it should have been closer into the game, way earlier. But
I agree with that. Actually, that's a good observation that I didn't really point out when we were in the match. When you have that Highlander is pretty slow.
It is,
and it seemed like Potato Carry was always planning to push that. I thought at first they were looking to receive, which they certainly were at first looking to receive. Maybe they expected Esrat's push, or maybe they didn't, but they were looking to receive at first. They were all standing on the edges of the ramp, looking down for Esrat to just come up right into the fatal funnel, right into the choke point, but they didn't. And then as soon as they realized they didn't do that, they immediately counter pushed, which was a good reaction considering the deck and all the mechs they had and everything like that. But it kind of left that Highlander alone, and he almost wasn't. I don't think he was in the fight very much.
I don't think he was. I think he got there near the end of the fight.
Yeah.
I forgot if Potato actually had a XC in that game.
They did.
I felt like the XC and the Highlanders could have switched roles and would have done much. I think the deck would have been much better, or the game would have been more favor to them. They would have had that XC regroup with their team faster than the Highlander.
Yeah, I think that would have been smarter, just because again, it like the XC can drop down better. It can, like you said, it literally just does like everything better for what they wanted to do with that Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying the Highlander's a bad pick, but again, it's just very slow.
Yes.
And like we both agreed, I think that Highlander was not really in the fight, especially not during the thick of it. And imagine if if the roles were reversed, you had that Highlander in the fight just a little bit sooner, and then the XE coming in, the speed difference might have made the difference for Potato Carry in that last match.
It looks like both teams are ready and ready to launch. So
absolutely, let's launch into this fourth game. Excited to see a fourth game here. Actually,
me too. I didn't expect
really,
it.
I think anything can happen. I think these teams have proven, both these teams have proven they're actually pretty versatile, especially Potato Carry. Of course, again, one more for Esrat, and they are out of the match or out of the tournament. So we'll see what they pull out for this drop.
All right, I'm actually in the game already. Do you want me to go to team 1 or team 2?
I will start with Potato Carry, Team 1.
Okay.
So we'll start with the Osiris 3D, a Stalker 5S, Annihilator 1P, Arctic Wolf 2, interesting pick, Hellfire Void, Corsair 7A, love that mech, great pick to trade with, Flea 19, and a Shadowcat D.
On my side, I see a Shadowcat B, a Viper F, Osiris 1P, Sunrhino 2, XCM, Ice Ridge J, Javelin 11A, and a Bloodass Rancor. So
very interesting. Looking at some of these builds, Pinky Feldman's Rancor, for example, does not have the micros you traditionally found in the Rancor. I think that's a little bit of a mistake there. Gadolinium Stone Rhino, Gossier Larges, of course, Edward Ash, Ice Ferret, very standard. Javelin 11A from Fourth Spoon Record. That's a very eccentric pick. I don't think we've seen a Javelin 11A the entire tournament. I don't know if we've seen a Javelin 11A the entire year.
I've actually
the first time this year.
I think I've brought it in one year or one of the tournaments, but I don't remember.
Exactly. Like, it's very eccentric pick. I'm not sure they hope to accomplish with that. In theory, it's not that bad, but just a very mid-rangey sort of pick. Tux, Not Osiris, Light Machine Guns Medium, X-Pulse, extra better than the Annie, of course, ER Larges, trading against the S-Route mechs, the Hag stepping onto Theta for free, the Hag Hellfire, with the Hag 30 and the Large Pulse. We see the Goss ER Large from the Corsair. Interesting, only 3 ER Large, not 4. Good try on the Flea, of course, the normal build. Shadowcat, pretty normal stuff. Stalker, 6 ER Large, about what you'd expect. And of course, the Arctic Wolf. We've seen this build in the past, or very similar, with the 2 ER Larges and the 4 Storm 6. It was brought a fair bit last year.
I kind of like seeing what Srot's trying to do here. They're pushing Upper City, trying to get Epsi and Gamma control, I'm assuming. And they want to push their bigs probably in.
So trades are right now going in favor of Clutch. We see S-Rod's Pinky Feldman down to 83, Gadolinium 78, Gray Fox even 80, and of course Panazzo, I think that's how you say that. Sorry if I botched your name. And the Executioner down to 90. Rabbito Squirrel, though, is taking a lot of damage for Potato Carry and that Arctic Wolf. I think he needs to just keep his head down a little bit. Great logo on the back with the NASA logo. Love to see it. Potato Carry, of course, is sitting on the 3 cap, right? So S-Rot is going to have to react at this point. Pinky Feldman is starting to get even more and more hurt in that Bloodass. Gadolinium as well.
It looks like
this is a little bit troubling.
It looks like Srot is pushing into Gamma right now, and they're going to try to chase Slave and the Shadowcat, and might even get the Stalker if he's not fast enough backing up here.
Pinky Feldman is in a deep spot of trouble here. Patchy and the Osiris could literally just dive Pinky Feldman and get that kill right now. I don't think he realizes that Pinky Feldman is so close, but of course Pinky Feldman is just getting beat to absolute piss by the all of Clutch's mechs, really, and he's just got halved 45 and he gets caught out dead. That's absolutely shocking. Gadolinium will not be far behind. We do see, however, a light offensive from S-Rot coming in the rear of Potato Carry. Gray Fox is legged in the Viper in the air. He's going to go down in short order. He's not legged actually, but he will still go down in short order.
He's tanking very well here.
He is actually tanking a lot of damage and a lot of fire from the Zero Largest from Clutch. I keep saying Clutch. I scribble everybody's names. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It's
Potato Carry is screwed up Revenant's names earlier. I'm so sorry, everyone watching. We do see, of course, Valkyrie and the Corsair going down. Extra better. Potato Carry's extra better going down next in that Annihilator. They do get Panazzo and Tux, though. Good try in the Flea 19. They're just coming the rear there. Patchy and good try. Can they clean up the rest of S-Rot's lights? I think they're going to be able to. Looking at the score, actually, it's less close than I suspected it would be. It's just Fork the Spoon Retro and Fork the Spoon Wrecker even, and Edward Ash just left in those 2 mechs. Need to try and run and get caps. Of course, S-Rod is doing that's
Potato, right? Or Srot?
Potato Carry.
Okay.
Potato Carry.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for match.
I'm actually very surprised how Srot took a lot of damage going in. Maybe they were exposing themselves to the traders on that rock there, but I felt like Srot could have actually pushed. I think if they were more healthy, I think they could have won that push there. But
great radio cast from me as well. Just absolutely screwing everything up. Really epic. I guess everyone's got to do it once. So,
No really high damage. The highest damage was actually better than the Annihilator 1P with 652 damage. Other than that, it's pretty much even on the board. Only one double D on Srot's side, which was the Viper.
And that is going to be it.
Yes, that is it. When is the next game going to be?
Let us take a look.
Is
I think
that-
it's in quite a while.
I think that's in an hour or two, right?
Yeah, I think it's in an hour. So we're gonna end the stream here. I'm gonna take a bit of a break.
Yes.
And we will be back for the last game of the night, which should be KDCM versus 228 Reapers. Of course, well played to Potato Carry. I'm sorry I botched your name like 800 times in a row. I'm absolutely exhausted, as maybe everybody can tell. And I just screwed up the last cast. Really cool. Still great to see. Asrod did a good job, of course, especially on that HPG match, pulling that back. That was really strong performance, able to pull that match back. So well played to both teams. And we will be back. Let's see. When will we be back? About an hour from now. Should be about, I think an hour and 15 minutes. I believe an hour and 15 minutes. Should be 8:45 my time. So it should be an hour 15 minutes. And we'll end the stream here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chicken Man, so much for casting with me.
Yeah, you're great. So thanks for being here.
And thank you everybody for watching. And we will be back for the final match of the night. KDCM versus 228 Reapers.
Alrighty.
See you guys then.
Yeah, see ya.